Assalamu alaikum. In today's lesson, I'm going to explain the difference between must, have to, and should. Let's watch. Okay, must and have to. Basically, there is no considerable difference in meaning between must and have to. They are often used in the same situations with very little or no difference in meaning. Consider the following two examples. You have to wear a seatbelt in the car. You must wear a seatbelt in the car. Basically the same. There's no difference in meaning. But I'm not really concerned with the difference in meaning. I'm concerned with the grammatical difference here between must and have to. And there is a huge difference grammatically. Have to is a verb, right? It can be used in all tenses and forms. On the other hand, must is a modal verb. It can only be used in the present or with a future meaning. That's it. Let's take some examples to understand. You must remember to call Emily. Remember now to call her now. Do this now. So that's must in the present. You must be on time tomorrow because there's a test. So we're using must with a future meaning. However, remember that we didn't say you will must be on time tomorrow. That's never acceptable. Have is more flexible. It can be used in a variety of situations like this. Do you have to work on Fridays? That's a question form. You cannot say, do you must work on Friday? Never acceptable, never. I had to wear a uniform at my elementary school. That's the past. You cannot use must with the past. Never acceptable. I'll have to get up early tomorrow. My interview is at 9 o'clock. We're using have to after will. You can never use must after will. Never acceptable. Let's take some exercises to understand better. Some of these sentences have grammatical mistakes. What you need to do is to read them and correct them. Take your time, pause the screen in order to have some time to think and write down your answers. Okay, now I'm going to show you the answers. He has to come to work tomorrow. That's correct. There are no mistakes with this. No mistakes. Emilia must pay her speeding ticket yesterday. Of course, that's wrong because we said yesterday. That's the past. You can't use must with the past. You have to change it into had to. Number 3, I must leave work early tomorrow. Correct, no problems. As we said that you can use must with the future meaning. No problems. He will must work hard when he travels to America. Incorrect, because as we said, you cannot use must after will. You'll have to change it to will have to. Let's take more exercises. Do the same thing. Some of these sentences have mistakes. Correct them. Pause the screen to have more time to think. Okay, now I'm going to show you the answers. She must to study for long hours to be able to get good grades? No, remove to. You can never use to after must. That's never acceptable. Pay attention, remember. Do you must have your passport in order to travel inside the country? No, that's wrong. You cannot use must after do with the question form. No. Do you have to have your passport? And we say, do you have to have your passport? You may feel that it's wrong, but it's not wrong. It's grammatically correct for sure. You will have to have a ticket if you want to enter the movie theater. You will have to have. That's correct. There are no mistakes. I've never had to pay for the service before. That's correct. Present perfect. I've never had. Present perfect. Okay. Difference between mustn't and don't have to. Pay attention. I told you that there is no difference between must and have to, but there is a huge difference between mustn't and don't have to. Huge difference in meaning. I mean. I'll explain to you. Mustn't means no, don't do this. It's not allowed for you to do this. It's wrong. But don't have to means you're not forced to do it. But if you choose to do it, it's fine. It's not forbidden if you do it. It's not wrong. Nobody's going to get angry. Like this example. You mustn't smoke here. If you smoke here, people will get angry. They will shout at you. You may be asked to pay a fine. Okay. But you don't have to help me. But if you choose to help me, fine. I will not get angry. As a matter of fact, I might even feel happy. So that's the difference between mustn't and don't have to. Let's take some exercises. Read these sentences and decide if you're going to use mustn't or don't have to. Of course, if you choose to use don't have to, you need to put it in the correct form. If it's future, use the future. If it's past, use the past, and so on. Take some time to think. Now let's take a look at the answers. You don't have to go to the party if you don't want to. But if you go to the party, fine, nobody's going to get angry. Number 2, you mustn't eat too much sugar. If you eat too much sugar, you are going to have some medical problems. It's bad for you. I mustn't forget Anna's birthday. If I forget her birthday, she's going to get upset. You didn't have to buy me a present yesterday. It was so nice of you to do this. You did it. You were not forced to do it, but you did it. And I'm not angry. I'm happy. That's the difference. Number 5, you don't have to wear a uniform when you come tomorrow. You can wear casual on your first day. But if you wear a uniform, no problems. Nobody's going to get angry. Nobody's going to shout at you. More exercises. Pay attention to the instructions here. Complete with the correct form of have to in the affirmative, negative, or question form. You understand? So it could be affirmative, but only use have to. Don't use must. Don't use anything else. Just use have to. Take some time to read the sentences and then decide the correct form of have to, please. Pause the screen to have some time to think. Okay, time for the answers. Passengers have to turn off their laptops during takeoff. They have to. They are forced to do this. Number 2, did you have to do a lot of homework when you were in school? That's a question. Use it in the past because we say when you were in school, so that's the past. My sister is a nurse, so some weeks she has to work nights, has to, not have to. She. Have you ever had to have an operation? Present perfect. Why? Because we have ever. Ever is usually used with the present perfect. Saturdays are the best days of the week. I love not having to get up early. After love, use the gerund, the verb plus ing. I love not having to get up early. More exercises. Do the same thing. Read the sentences and decide which form of have to you're going to use in the affirmative, negative, or question form. Now let's take a look at the answers. I had to leave a message on her voicemail because she wasn't in. Past. In the future, people will not have to go to school. Future, but use not because of the meaning of the sentence. With old cell phones, you used to have to charge the battery more often. After used to, use the infinitive, used to have to. Does your boyfriend have to answer his work emails on weekends? Present, use does. Boyfriend means he. The exhibition was free, so I didn't have to pay. I wasn't forced to pay. Okay. Difference between must and should. There is a difference between must and should. Must indicates that there is an obligation. You have to do this thing. It's used with laws and rules and things like that. But should indicates that something, it's a good idea, good manners, but there's no strong obligation. Let me give you an example. You should wear something heavy. It's getting cold. You should do it. It's a good idea. Wear something heavy. If you don't want to wear something heavy, fine. It's your body. You're free to do whatever you want to do. No problems are going to happen. You must have your driver's license with you. Oh, that's very important. If you don't have a driver's license and a traffic officer stops you, he may ask you to pay a huge fine. You might even be sent to prison. So you must do it. You understand? So should means it's a good idea, but must means you have to do it. You don't have a choice. Now, in many situations, I have to admit that the choice between must and should depends on your opinion. You may think it's very important, and I think it's just a good idea, but it's not very important, or vice versa. I may think that something is very important, but you think it's only a good idea. Like this example, you should or must turn off your phone in a theater. I think it's very important. I think you must turn off your phone in a theater. But maybe you think it's just a good idea. You should turn off your phone in a theater. No problems. Both of us are right. I cannot tell you that you're wrong, and you cannot tell me that I am wrong. It's all a matter of opinions here. Now, circle the correct form. Check if both are possible. So you have to choose the correct form, and in some situations, both are possible. Take some time to think. Okay, I will show you the answers now. Do you think we should text Dad to tell him we'll be late? That's my opinion. Now, you may have a different opinion. You may choose have to. You may think it's very, very important to do this. I think it's a good idea, but I don't think it's very, very important to do it. Maybe your father is very strict. So if you don't text him, he will get super angry. But I think it's just a good idea, but nothing is gonna happen if I don't text my father and tell him that I'm gonna be late. You understand the difference here? Number two, you mustn't send text messages when you're driving. It's wrong. It's dangerous if you do it. Now, if you choose don't have to here, I will disagree with you. I will tell you that you are wrong. Because if you text messages when you're driving, oh, people might die. So it's completely wrong to use don't have to here in this situation. Number three, either one is acceptable. Both are acceptable. We said that has to and must have the same meaning. Remember what I told you at the beginning of the video, that they have the same meaning. So use has to or use must, no problems. More exercises. Do the same thing. Choose the correct form and check if both are possible. Okay, let's check the answers now. You mustn't talk on your cell phone when you're filling up the car with gas. I think it's dangerous if you do it. It's dangerous for other people's lives. So I wouldn't choose shouldn't. No, it's not a good idea to use shouldn't here in the situation. It's dangerous. Number five, I have to speak to my phone company. My last bill was wrong. I think it's very, very important to do it because if I don't do it, I'm gonna be asked to pay more money. Money is involved. Here in this situation, maybe you have a different opinion. Maybe you say, I should speak to my phone company. Okay, I will not tell you that you're wrong. You think it's a good idea, but you don't think it's very, very important. I think it's very, very important. So it's okay. Maybe both answers are acceptable. No problems. Number six, we don't have to hurry. We have plenty of time. We are not forced to hurry. But if we hurry, no problems. Nothing's going to happen. Maybe you choose shouldn't. You think it's a bad idea if we hurry. I can tell you, okay, no problems. Maybe you feel that we shouldn't hurry because we need to save our energy. Fine, I accept your answer. I choose shouldn't. It's okay, no problems. As I told you, in some situations, many opinions can be acceptable. I hope today's lesson was useful. Thank you so much for your time, and I will see you with the future grammar lessons, inshallah. Okay, assalamu alaikum.